Hello everybody, it's Jen, Scrapbena Creations. I'm back with another design team project for Not2Shabby. Don't forget to use coupon code JEN10 to save 10% off your purchase. So this is the card that I'm making. I am designing with the Avery Elle stamp set called Sweetest. And I also brought in the summer paper pad from Doodlebug. I'm going to use this ice cream and popsicle paper. Jamie has both the paper pad and the stamp set with its coordinating dies in stock. She has a few left, so if you want to get your hands on them, you might want to head over there soon before they're sold out. So if you saw my first card, I did a very quick watercoloring of these images with Distress Oxide inks. So for this card, I'm going to be using my Copic alcohol markers. I'm using B06, B04, and B02. I wanted to make like a blueberry. I don't know if this is really considered a snow cone or an ice cream cone, but because it had the blueberries on the top, I wanted to make it a blueberry color. So I did bring in the BV02 as well, just to give it a little bit of a purpley blue color like a blueberry would be. So for the blueberries, I'm actually using B02 and BV02. Now they will blend great together because they both end in 2. So they look really sweet colored up. Now I'm bringing in my greens. My YG03 is the lightest, YG25, and then the darkest is YG17. I'm using that for the top of the strawberry, the blueberry leaves, and the little bottom of the blueberries as well. I wanted to do some strawberry topping on the ice cream cone that had the strawberries, so I'm using my favorite pink combination, the R85, the R83, and the R81. And I'm going to go over that a couple times, just like I did with the blue on the other ice cream cone, to give it a really rich color. And I think it turned out really pretty. So once I get that done, I'm going to color up the strawberry. I'm using R29, R24, and R22. And that's quite small, so very simple to color. For all the cones themselves and the popsicle stick, I'm using just a 2-color blend, the E11 and the E00. Very quick and simple. I wanted a light color for the cone so that the color of the ice creams and the popsicle would really stand out. I wasn't quite sure at this point what I wanted to color the bottom of the popsicle, so I left that blank for now. And once I get the cones colored up, I'm going to color the top part of the popsicle like a fudgicle. So I'm doing a dark chocolate here. This is E29, E27, and E25. I do color this about 3 times, I think, just to get the darkness that I wanted. And I went out of the line there a little bit, so I was just using my blender pen to quickly erase that little mistake. But this is just going to be the first coat, so I'm just making sure to get it down. You can see how much that E29 really blends back, even though I'm not going over the full color when it dries. Same with the E27, so that's why I went over it multiple times, because I really wanted it to be like a dark fudgicle. So I'm going to do that one more time, and then we'll move on to the rest of the popsicle. In the end, I decide to color it strawberry so that there's some more pink in the card. So I'm bringing back those 3 colors again to do the bottom of the popsicle. I had a lot of fun playing with this stamp set. I didn't know that Jamie was going to send me this, so it's always fun to play with something you're not expecting, and I really loved this stamp set. So it's really fun. I really like these images. I think they're one of my favorite ice cream cone popsicle stamp sets out there. There's Piper coming to say hi. And I thought the cards turned out really great. So for a very small, like a mini stamp set, I think this one is well worth the money. I'm just making sure Piper stays out of the video there at that point. So if you want a fun summer stamp set and you don't want to spend a lot of money, I would definitely recommend this one. So I'm going to cut these all out. So when I do fussy cutting, I like to cut down the paper as close as possible to the image. I find it helps get a smoother cut. So I will get these all trimmed out and then I will start fussy cutting. I am going to leave a small white border. And when I do fussy cutting, I make sure to move the image itself and leave the scissors as they are. So that's a quick tip if you're new to card making. So there's the images all colored and cut out. I cut my card panel with a Lawn Fawn stitch rectangle die, and then I'm just using this oval die here. I wanted to try to do something a bit different, so I thought I would try die cutting the oval 3 times so it kind of overlaps, and I do like the way it turned out. I try to come up with new ideas, but when you're making cards all the time, sometimes it can be hard. So let me know if you like how this turned out. Now, I could have been a little bit more careful and measured stuff out, so it's not perfectly straight, but that's okay. It's a homemade card. So I'm using Salty Ocean here, Distress Oxide ink, to stamp out Sweetest so that it would match the blueberry cone. So the sentiment reads, "You are the sweetest friend." I did 2 of these cards. I also used the sentiment from the first card video that I did using this stamp set, the one that reads, "Hope your birthday is the sweetest," because I really like how this turned out in the end. So I'm using this adorable paper by Doodlebug. I was trying to conserve as much of it as possible, and I was able to get 2 similar cards out of the one piece of paper, so that's always fun. So I'm just going to adhere this down to the card panel. I did try to straighten it as much as possible with one of the lines on my cutting mat, and then I'm just going to use some more adhesive and get this on the card panel. Now I wasn't quite sure if I had gotten it adhered all the way, but I did, so I was just checking there. So I'll get that on the card panel, and then I'm going to get out my box that I use when I'm going to be doing any kind of splattering or spritzing or spraying. So I'm just covering up the sentiment, and this was an afterthought. So if you want to recreate a card like this, I would suggest doing this before you put the pattern paper onto the card panel, as well as the panel onto the card base, but it turned out just fine. So I brought in the laminated 8.5/11 sheet that I used in the first card, and I still had some Distress Oxide on there that I didn't want to waste, so I just re-wet it, and I'm using yellow squeezed lemonade, I'm using the picked raspberry, and then I added Salty Ocean onto that as well so that it would match the blue that I used for the sentiment. So I'm going to add some white detailing. I did do some white detailing to the blueberries and the strawberry, as well as some black gel pen on the strawberries the day before. I colored these up and then made the card on a second day because I knew that I wanted to use glossy accents, and I wanted the white and black gel pen to dry prior to adding the glossy accents. So you see me here, I'm just stamping on the faces. I got a little bit of that white gel pen where I didn't want it, so I just used my little pick tool to scrape off where it kind of ran, and it worked out perfectly. So I'm now putting on some cotton candy stickles just along the edge of the strawberry sauce that's on the ice cream cone. I wanted to come back and do a second layer of this white detail on the popsicle, and the card's finished. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.